Welcome everyone. It's JMPankey, and I'm excited to be hosting. Oh God, I should have wrote this down. Let's see. This is series 3. Yep, and this is episode 4. I think it's 4. So Richard is our last and closer of our series. And we're super excited. If you don't know Richard Merrill, we're excited to have him here. If you haven't been joining the Hindsight is 2020 series, we took you through series 1, which was talking about back bar expenses, managing your expenses, and profitability. Series 2, we talked about staffing. So hiring, training, and retaining the rock stars. In series 3, we're talking about marketing. So we started with some branding. We talked about Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I feel like, Pinterest, I said Pinterest, Twitter, and how we can use all of those for our business. And we're going to close out this series with Richard, who could talk to you about all of those things, probably for a half a day or a full day. But we wanted to have him close out the series because we want to talk about, old school marketing is not dead, but we also wanted him to wrap this all up in a nice package for you. So wrap our whole marketing series up in a nice package that you could take back to your business and implement and make it seem, easier, less stress. Richard has over 15 years of experience. He's worked as an esthetician all over the country. He's in Washington State now. I think previously you were in California, right?
Yes.
He's an award-winning esthetician, so he has been in your shoes. He knows what it's like to be a practitioner, to start a business, to grow a business, and he works as a consultant with business owners now. Specifically, a great sweet spot is branding and marketing. So we are so excited to have you, Richard. Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Just before I get started on the presentation, for those of you that are already in here, if you could just raise your hand to make sure that there's no sound issues and that you can hear us using the chat box, or say hello and tell us where you're from, just so we know that you can see and hear us. Excellent. I see you guys. So thank you for that introduction. I think that it's been an interesting career for me, and I'm excited to talk about today's topic because everywhere you look right now, everything talks about digital strategies, especially when you're talking about life during COVID. Everything is virtual, online, digital. How can we do those things? But I think something that so often gets forgotten is, in order to build that digital platform, you have to have a local network of clients, supporters, allies, people who are helping you build that and boost that and engage that. So today we're going to talk about a few different things. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation and we'll jump right in.
And
can everyone see that?
If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat box. And I'll monitor the chat box, and as well, if I think of anything that's burning that you guys might want to know, I'll interrupt Richard as he goes, but I'm really excited to hear your presentation.
So we're going to start off with a little bit of maybe review and then go into some really cool key points. But let's talk about what exactly we're going to do. I'm going to skip over the intro of me. I'll just say a few things. I am an award-winning licensed esthetician.
I was going to say, don't skip the intro. We want to hear about you.
So I am an award-winning licensed esthetician. One of the things that is most valuable to me is 2017 Business of the Year presented by Universal Companies. And I received that accolade based on my business plan. I created a business plan for my independent solo salon suite and presented it and then received that accolade. And for me, it's really important that business owners have that component. And so many of us are so focused on the client experience, the services and the products that we don't make time in our businesses to plan and prepare for what our exit strategy is going to be. So a lot of the things that we're going to discuss today are actually extracted from that business plan, which is why I think it's an important note in my presentation. And it's really where I have had the opportunity to work with brands, estheticians, associations across the country in the spa industry and really develop one-on-one relationships where I can hear what people need help with. And I've been able to develop a consulting program that had a one-on-one. I started off doing one-on-one services, and now I've gone on to create the complete spa business regimen, which literally just means that that same information that I get, that you get from a one-on-one experience consulting, is more affordable and more accessible. So it meets my mission to help the independent salon solo owner really have access to data, digital marketing, and solutions that are usually priced out of our range. You know, as an owner, I had to develop all of this on my own because I couldn't afford the people that helped with these tools. So I hope that by the end of today's presentation, you get some really huge takeaways that will impact your business. But there are some other fun things at the end that I'll share with you when we get there. So let's go ahead and get started. The key points that we're going to discuss today, I'm going to do an overview of a unique brand identity. I believe that that is the foundation of everything you do in your business. It is, if you ever have heard me speak, if you ever hear me speak in the future, you will hear me talk about a unique brand identity because it is the most important thing you will ever do in your business, hands down, no argument from me. Then we're going to talk about how to take that brand identity and implement it into local marketing strategies, including marketing collateral, advertising strategies such as print, TV, some fun things like that. And then we're going to talk about two of my favorite topics that we really don't talk about in this industry at all, and that's event marketing and cause marketing. So I'll explain to you what those are, how to implement them, and how to boost your profitability in your business with those items. Then we'll wrap up today's call with contests and giveaways. I think it's an important topic because so often we give away the products and services that we sell, which means we've now lost the opportunity to sell that product because everybody enters those contests hoping to win. And when they don't win, they don't buy either. So how has that contest and giveaway helped you build your business, engage your audience, and really grow? And we'll take all of that and talk about how to create a 12-month plan of action to really streamline your marketing efforts.
Because it's not, we've talked about this like last week about Instagram, you know, we have these great ideas of doing like contests and giveaways to increase, you know, our likes and numbers in social media. But if they're not going to buy from us, does it matter anyway, right?
Correct. And I think that's when we compare ourselves, because that's really what we do when we start doing marketing research, is we just start comparing ourselves to everything else around us. And when you play that comparison game, what really happens is you're looking at their engagement from the consumer's perspective. So you're seeing the likes, you're seeing maybe the comments, you're seeing some of what looks like engagement, but what you don't see is what is the actual conversion rate? How many of those 1,000 likes are turning into paying clients? How many of those comments are actually people that are engaged with their business? Or how many of them are bots that are just set up to trigger to some hashtag that you used and have no bearing on your business whatsoever? And so then we start to feel really ineffective in what we're doing, and then we stop doing it. So, and that's why I think doing these local marketing strategies to really build an audience locally is really important in the foundation component, which is why I'm excited to kind of have this segment to talk about, because without this, the digital won't matter. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the creating your action plan. But when you're creating a unique brand identity, I came up with the Merrill method. And really what it is whenever you create a piece of collateral, a post, whatever you're going to do to represent your brand, I want you to ask yourself a series of questions. Is your brand memorable? Is this brand something that people are going to have front of mind every time they hear, I need a skincare professional? You're the first thing that comes to their mind. If not, how can you improve your brand to be that person? The next is it enticing and is it engaging? So when we talk about those likes, that's not a conversion tool we're going to use. That's not a key performance indicator that we're going to use. We're going to look at, out of the people that are engaging with our business, how many of them are actually converting into money in our pocket. If you're not getting high conversions, think about ways to make shifts in your brand to be able to get to that conversion rate. The next thing is your brand relatable? So often estheticians like to look at their brand in a really narrow scope. So we think of our clients as their condition, anti-aging, acne, hyperpigmentation. But I'm not going to relate with my condition. I'm already uncomfortable, have confidence issues, and don't want to discuss my condition. What I'm going to connect with a professional on is personal things. So do you have a cause that's important to you that you bring awareness through your business platform? Is there something that your business does and gives back that makes you a human that I can relate to your mission statement? Implementing that one key component will change your business forever. The next thing is it recommendable? So I've got the engagements because it's enticing. I've got people remembering who I am and thinking of me firsthand, and they're relating to my message. But marketing is really about having people tell your story for you. So are your collateral pieces used in a way that people are sharing, people are talking about you, and people are recommending your business? And then most important to me, are you integrity-based? Are the products and the services in your treatment room directly related to your mission and your vision of your business? What you are trying to achieve can't just be, I want to have great skin for my clients. Well, are you using the products that you're selling in your business? If you're not, how are you selling it authentically? And because you're not sharing your personal experience, you're sharing sales data. So I really look at these things as integrity issues, because if you're not utilizing your products, your services in your business, then you're really just focused on the money. And that's not going to give you the longevity that we're going to get to in a second. The next thing is talking about language. As licensed professionals, we love science. We love data. We love all things that make us the powerhouse of resource to our clients. But are you taking that knowledge and data and breaking it down into a way that the consumer who's going to spend their money with you actually understands it? That's great that you have some amazing oligopeptide and you use that really large word, but if a client doesn't know what an oligopeptide is and how it affects their skin, your message is lost in their understanding and their inability to understand it. So thinking about your language, and then thinking also about who is your target audience and is the tone of that language connecting with them? And then most of all, once you've taken all of these things and really answered these questions and gotten to a point where you're saying yes, do you have the components in place to give you longevity all the way through to your exit strategy? We think about our operations on a daily basis, but are we looking at, I have an exit strategy to leave this industry and leave this business and retire by this date, and these are the things and the things I need to make sure, the check marks I need to hit by this point to be able to say I'm going to retire debt-free and financially fit. So longevity is more than just staying in business for 40 years. Longevity is also your personal longevity, your well-being, your health, and your financial well-being. So that's the Merrill method, and where I want you guys to keep your focus as we go through the key components of creating a brand identity.
That's awesome, Richard, because in all the webinars that I've done, you know, I always talk to clients about, you know, longevity, and I talk to them about exit strategy, even when they're starting a new business. And, you know, it's scary to say, okay, we're opening a brand new spa. What's your exit strategy? But I think that being real about that and having an end game, you know, helps you continue to be really true on brand and true to, you know, all the steps of your business, that you don't veer off it if you have this really, like, I call it a big, hairy, audacious goal, but a big, you know, end strategy, that it helps you to not veer off brand.
Not only will it keep you on brand, yeah, and not only does it help keep you on brand, but it also allows you, when something happens in your business, like what we're sitting in the middle of, COVID, your plan, you have to maintain flexibility in your plan. And the only way you can do that is to know what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to get. And when something comes in, when an obstacle comes into your business, if you have that plan in place that says, I have to hit $7,300 in retail sales and I need to hit $2,500 in service sales this month, and even though I'm closed and not open for services, how can I meet that sales goal? Because I have it in place, I know what I need to make. It allows me to say, okay, well, this is how I can maybe package things. This is how I can do it to meet the need of right now and maintain flexibility, so I'm not stressed about closing. And then again, bringing it back to your brand identity, you know, we have to deal with things as they hit us in life, whether it's a national pandemic or it's a personal family matter that hits us. Things are going to come up in our life. So while having a plan is important, also maintaining flexibility is important. And I know those kind of sound like they go against each other, but it's really just about preparing. It all comes down to preparing yourself for the greatest level of success. So when we talk about a brand, what does that mean? It means the promise that you're going to deliver on to your customers. Your brand is what you wake up and do every day. So my brand for Richard Merrill Consulting is to specifically help independent salon and spa businesses hit $10,000 a month consistently in their business. So that's my promise. That's what I'm working to do. And that's what I'm going to focus. Everything that I ever talk about is going to be something that pushes me towards achieving that goal. But that's my mission statement. That's what I'm doing right now in the today and in the here and in the now. And that's how I check myself to make sure that I'm meeting that brand mission. But when we talk about purpose, we're talking about our greater vision. So this is where your vision statement comes in. Have you ever looked at brands and kind of done a side-by-side comparison and wondered why one brand does better than another? Part of that is because of their vision. The vision goes back to that longevity component where we're looking at the long-term goal. Our business is a platform that allows us to engage an audience with things that are important to us. And while skincare may be the thing that initially connects us, the things that are going to allow us to have a long-term relationship are the personal and the interpersonal relationship-based things. And these can come back down to causes, like if you're an oncology esthetician, how do you use your business and your platform to give back to that audience? Do you provide regular treatments in a treatment facility on people going through oncology treatments? A really great example of a client that I have right now. She's coming from the law enforcement world and she's coming into aesthetics, and she had a really big concern about, she wants to tie them two together and bring awareness and kind of bridge her community together, especially in today's times and where everybody stands. But her concern was, is if she brings that into her spa business and that vision and mission, is it going to impact her negatively? And when I get that question, which I get all the time, everybody's concerned about what the customer is going to think and say about their purpose. The reality becomes, is the audience large enough to support your business? That's step one. And in this case, I asked her how many law enforcement agents work in your local area. It was about 20,000 people. Then I said, well, how many people of those are married? She's like, maybe 5,000. So right there, you're looking at an audience of 25,000 people. Are you as a solo independent practitioner going to be able to even take care of 25,000 people? No. So you have a large enough audience who's going to connect with your mission. If they don't connect with your mission and your purpose, stop chasing them. Stop wasting your time on people that are never going to become clients and just focus on that individual that is going to connect with you. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, when they connect on that personal level, those are the clients that we talk about on social media. Those are the clients that we talk about loving, because when they come in, we have communication and conversation with them. We ask them about their kids. We ask them how work is going. We have an actual relationship with them. And then those are the same clients that have that relationship and then remember us, and they go out and they talk about us, and they do the word of mouth marketing for us. So your mission statement is what you do right now, that brand promise. Your purpose and your vision is what you're going to build and how you're going to impact that audience. Then as you impact that audience, it's going to grow. You're going to create this community. Through building that community and that niche, you build trust, and that's when you become the expert to that area. And notice I haven't talked about conditions. I'm not talking about hyperpigmentation, anti-aging. I'm talking about human-to-human relationships. I'm talking about connecting with people that have something in common with me. One of my personal most impactful experiences is working with a domestic violence shelter. Being someone that came from childhood abuse, stopping and bringing awareness to abuse is important to me. And finding a way to do that through my business was important. There are people that aren't going to understand that. There are people that aren't going to understand that entire community. I'm not concerned about their opinion. I'm not concerned about what they think or feel. I'm concerned about making sure I'm impacting my people. And those people become my community and my tribe. Then we go into talking about personality of your brand. So who you choose as your community is going to change how you speak and the tone of your brand. And your tone comes across in everything you do, the print, the videos, the images. It all comes together with a really strong overtone of who and what you are. For me, I'm super casual. Yeah, I'm talking about really boring finances, operations, and business plans, but I'm super conversational and laid back. That's my brand. So those are the people that I'm going to connect with. That personality is relatable to my client. You're going through the same thing I'm going through, trying to gain clients, trying to meet your sales goals. And I'm not going to overcomplicate the process by creating such an overly edited experience of who I am to try to get that big ticket client. That's not who I'm after, and they're not going to understand me, and I'm okay with that. Notice that phrase keeps coming up. I'm okay with that. That's where the confidence of who you are and what you are is going to start to come through. Once you've defined your brand vision, your mission, your personality, who you want to be, now it's time to give birth to this idea. So when you're creating your brand, there are a few key components that display all the things we've just, so everything up until now has been like the theory of who we are. Now let's talk about some of the physical components that go into demonstrating that. The first thing is our name. A name can be divided into one of three categories. A descriptive name like Richard Merrill Aesthetics is just that. It describes exactly who I am and what I am. But what about an emotive name like Serenity Day Spa? This is a day spa that might cater to moms who need a relaxing getaway from the stress of their everyday life. Now you have a brand name and a slogan and a brand and a mission all wrapped up very quickly in your name. That's all going to be conveyed from the name. Then you have the brands that create invented names. These usually take a little bit more explanation, but they have a really unique benefit in that when you invent a name, whether it's through spelling, it really creates a personalized experience and usually makes it very easy to get to the trademarking and making that business uniquely yours and building value in your brand. So a quick checklist to think of things that you need to look for. Before you ever spend any money on your brand name, the first thing you need to do is, can you find it on Instagram? Can you find it as a web URL? Can you get it on Facebook? Because if not, you need to see what exists and how you can adapt your name before you ever even think about doing a trademark search. Because if it's not available on those basic platforms, platform, somebody is sitting on it for whatever reason, and you need to decide, are they sitting on it and have it at a value that I can buy it from them, that I want to spend it on? Is it that important to me? Or do I need to rethink and retrace and then go through the trademarking process? But then that's that final step of your brand naming. You need to trademark it. You need to own it. Ownership is the thing that says this business is mine and nobody can touch it, and creates the protection that allows you to grow the longevity. So now that you have given birth to the brand, it has a name, what about the way that it's depicted? How do you take that name and put it into all of your marketing collateral easy? Well, that's a logo. A logo is either a word symbol or an image symbol, or a combination of the two that depicts exactly who you and your brand are. So there's a wide variety, and this part of the process is supposed to be creative and fun. Don't get hung up on what everybody else is doing and how everybody else is doing it. If you're a high-end medical spa, you're gonna want clean, clear, clinical, and that's gonna be chosen in the fonts and the colors and the images that you use. But you can be a really unique brand that's a boutique spa. Two of my favorite that come to mind all the time is Wanda and Willow Day Spa in Nashville. She has a unique brand. It is a brews and potions themed spa. It's super themed. Everything that she does, all of her products, all of her services, and her entire experience is themed. And of course, there are people that don't agree with that. Of course, there are people that are going to have questions and not come to her business. But she's built a huge business by having that unique brand, because she's going to, again, draw in her crowd. And she uses a combination of words and symbols. On the W, she creates one of the lines into a wand. This is a simple way to create an image that depicts who you are and combine words so that people have a very clear vision of who and what you are. So then when you think about your logo and you think about the fonts that you're going to use, if you're going to use a text-based, how do those fonts emote? So if you have a cursive high scroll font, that's usually geared towards elegance, femininity. Whereas if you have, in my case, with my body text, it's very clean line. That's going to give you that clinical feeling, very clean, very business, very straightforward. But how do you define who you are through your fonts? It's about really deciding, this is my personality, this is who I am, and these are the fun ways I get to depict that through font, and make sure that it carries through in every aspect of your business. So you want to make sure that the fonts in your logos carry through to the headers, the subheaders, and the body of your text. And you can have, in a great example on my slides, my header is always full capitalization. It's a serif font, and my subheader is the same font, but it's sentence capitalization in a different color. That's how I differentiate, but you'll notice this combination of text in my logo, in all of my marketing, and then at the bottom of each slide, you see this fun scroll font. You'll see that font mostly used in a lot of my digital media, because I want to have a way that's fun and different that breaks up my content. So really thinking about 4 different fonts and how each of them work together and depict who you are. Then thinking about the tone. As we talked about earlier, I'm really conversational. So when I write something out, I like to read it out loud. If I stutter and stammer through reading it, it's not authentically representing who I am, and I make the edits to make it freely flow off of my tongue. The most important reason to do this is when you think of digital, and I'm going to bring digital up for a minute. When you go on Instagram and you have a brand that has this gorgeous Instagram page, they've got these pinks and these pastels and this beautiful font and there's really high-end language, and then you walk in their door and their spa is green and it's relaxed and it's completely not what you fell in love with online, you've now created a negative experience without doing really anything other than not carrying a consistent brand. You also might in your tone, draw in an audience that's not authentically your audience. If you're always speaking in medical terminology online, but you speak in conversation terminology in the treatment room, those are two completely different businesses. So you're attracting one type of business, but you're actually servicing another. So making sure that your tone is consistent is very important because it's going to determine who you draw into your business. One of the final components is the color. So colors, again, have that emotional connection. Red is used often in fast food places because hunger is actually stimulated by the color red. So if you think about fast food, all of them have some variation of red in their business. So when you think of a hospital or a spa or a clinical, you think of blues and mint greens and those colors. But what I don't want you to do when you think of color is pigeonhole yourself into what is the traditional spa world. There's a brand called Red Hot Lounge. She has a bright red wall with black walls. She's got a rockabilly kind of rocker vibe to her spa. She's got a great business and she draws a very specific clientele. Not what you traditionally think of as a spa environment, but again, it depicts who she is, what she is, and why she is, and the right people show up at her door. So think about the colors that you're attracted to and start there. The other thing is I just did a post recently on my Instagram talking about the connection between your image outside and your image inside. If you really are struggling with coming up with the colors, stand up against the wall in your spa, take a picture of your treatment room, then take that image on your computer and start color grabbing the things that are already in your space. You can create an entire palette just off of what you have around you. If let's say you use a wall image to bring color into your treatment room and you pull the colors from that, and then in a year you decide to change it, you can go back, do the same process because the fundamentals of creating your brand stay the same. As it adapts, you now have the process to keep growing it. But it's important to continue changing and updating for that consistency. Talking about brand imagery, so often we use words. We use words in descriptions, we use words in all these different places in all these different ways. But what we really lack is images of our treatment room, images of us outside of the treatment room. You know, yes, we know you're an esthetician. We know you do facials. We know you do waxing. We know those things about you. So when you come in from a marketing perspective, use imagery that pushes your brand mission, but really shows who you are. When we get into talking about collateral, making sure that a picture of your treatment room is on that collateral, because it's going to carry out the consistency and it lets people know exactly what they're coming into. If I see your treatment room right here on this trifold brochure, I know what to look for. I can see that it's sanitary, and then making sure that when they walk in, part of that brand promises that's what they actually experience. If changes happen, you update the marketing collateral as you go. So in order to get into talking about the tools that we're going to create today, you want to take all of the information for your brand and put it into a style guide. A style guide is literally taking all of the components we just discussed and writing them out. My brand font is, my brand colors are, my personality is, and that's your check sheet for when you go to create something to look at it. So you ask yourself the Merrill method questions, and then you look, does it have consistent coloring? Does it have consistent spacing? And when that changes, update the document. The other benefit to creating this guideline is when you grow to the point where you outsource these services, you have a way to say, this is my brand, don't mess it up. So now, many of you who have worked with me in the past know that this is my topic, creating a brand guide. And talking about the power of evolution, we've talked about digital a lot everywhere. Digital is thrown in our face everywhere. So as we go forward, we're going to talk about these old school marketing techniques that are actively working in businesses today. But I want you to remember what we first discussed: remaining flexible and maintaining the consistency and updating things as time evolves. Our businesses will change from industry influences to trends to consumer requests. When you make an impactful change to your business, make sure that all of the tools you have evolve with that change. Remain flexible and have fun. We're going to talk about some things that are going to sound a little overwhelming right now, but your brand gets to be fun. And just remember that as we go through some of these next topics. The first place I want to talk is marketing collateral. So collateral is your trifold brochures, your business card, your consultation form. So many of us use other brands' consultation forms, taking the minutes that it doesn't take long to slap your branding on that form and extend that experience to the customer. But these are all marketing components. These are all part of the customer buying experience. And ensuring that consistency means, are we taking each of these things and applying our brand mission and vision and clearly communicating that with every single person? The next thing to think about with marketing collateral that's important is, can a stranger understand it? So if you have a rack card, which is a 9x12 half sheet kind of quick overview of your brand, you might utilize local community spots to have those live. So that maybe a hotel with local attractions guide, you have your information there, local poster boards. But it's a quick snapshot. The front needs to be your services and prices only, no descriptions. If they want full descriptions, the call to action on a rack card is going to be visit my website or call me for more information. But on the back of the rack card needs to be that introduction to you, who you are as a service provider, your business, what is your mission and your vision and what are you promising them? And you need to include that picture of your space. This is an oversized business card, but it gives all the answers that make a client see that information and say, yes, I want to book a service. Every single piece of collateral that you have should be something that pushes a client closer to saying yes and converting to a paying client. And then making sure that you're distributing it. How many times do we buy 1,000 business cards on Vistaprint because they're on sale, but then they sit in a drawer in our office? How is that effectively marketing my business? And what am I really utilizing that for? One of the tricks that I use for my marketing collateral, and I've done this for years now, is placing value on it. So a business card can be used in the treatment room as a referral tool. On the front of it, it has the information to contact your business in your spa. On the back of it, it has their next appointment time slot and a referred by slot. So I'll have my clients write their name on the business card. I'll give them about 3 of them and I'll tell them, give this to your client. When they bring it back, you'll get XYZ as a thank you. Well, that act of just them writing on your business card and engaging with it has now engaged them in the sales process. And it's enticed them to actually put it in their wallet, take it, and talk about you, which brings us back to that recommendable component of a good brand. When you talk about things like a rack card or a trifold brochure, how do you attach value to that? The most valuable thing a client can give you is their name, phone number, and email address. Most people think, well, there's no money involved in that. Well, the fortune is in the follow-up. And if I give you a business card because I met you at the grocery store and I have no way to follow up with you and connect with you further, that hot lead has now become a dead lead. So making sure that you have access to tools while you're out on the go to connect with people, but also to collect their contact information is going to be important for establishing strong marketing guidelines. So now you've got your collateral, you've got it out in the world, you've got a plan to collect name, phone number, and email address. How do you impact your local community and get that message out. You can utilize digital media advertising, or you can use things like print, radio, cable TV, and direct mail. Now, I know a couple of you are probably sitting here going, I can't afford to be on a radio spot. But what you might not know is that there are actually slots of time that don't get filled because it's not an ideal time slot for a client of a higher nature, perhaps. But consider this. If you're working with clients who are maybe dealing with premature aging, maybe they also deal with insomnia, which is going to cause a lack of sleep. Potentially people with insomnia also have dehydration issues because they're not drinking water and there's things going on with their body. So if you got a 2 a.m. time slot on a radio for $50 that said, hey, my name is Richard, I'm a licensed esthetician, and I offer treatments that specifically address ways to reduce stress in your life so that you can get a better night's sleep. Everybody that's awake at 2 a.m. is going to relate to that message. Then the process begins and they're like, well, maybe I'll do this to try to make myself feel better. Because the other side effect of not sleeping enough, not drinking enough water, and not taking care of ourselves is literally the emotional baggage that comes along with that. If you can attach something that emotionally connects to a client, the results that you're going to achieve with them have such a greater impact that you can't recreate that. The impact that you create through that kind of change is the things that we live for. But finding unique and creative ways to contact that client is important.
You know, one
Now, when you
time
think,
I was working with a client, just a few testimonials that you can work with radio. Radio is expensive, right? Don't get me wrong, but we contacted iHeartRadio, and it was, an exorbitant amount of money to hit like the high times when people are driving to work and from work. So they had an idea, what if you advertised on like the Car Talk or the sports radio channel? And we're like, And so, they pitched it, and it was a fraction of the price. A laughable dollar amount. And, what happened is people listening to Car Talk, who are the people listening to this in their cars, men, right? Predominantly men. And then on sports radio, also predominantly men. And it's right before a holiday. Who are the people that forget to buy gifts and are last minute? So it was all about gift certificate promotion, and it was amazing. The other thing that we've done is a trade with the radio stations. So, they sometimes need something to promote. It was trying to think what they were doing. They were doing, it was with a hotel property that I worked with, and they were doing like a, fill the bus canned food drive, right? And so we wanted to be on the spot. I called, I was like, I called for the hotel. I said, we really have no budget for this. So I'm not sure why I'm calling, but what can we do? And she's like, if you give away the grand prize to the small business that donates the most cans for this canned food drive, we'll advertise it every single day for you at no cost. And so it was like the small office prize was 10 people or less. And, we did, very manageable mini treatments, with a glass of wine. And it was far less expensive than, paying for advertising in these prime spots, because they were advertising the canned food drive, which was on your drive to work, midday at lunch, and on your drive home. And we really paid nothing Regina said she did NPR once. NPR is another really good place to, you wouldn't think it, but another really good place because those are your buyers. And they had a summer special 5 times a day for $1,400 for 6 weeks. And Regina, did you get business from it? You can answer in the chat while Richard continues. Sorry.
You're good. The other thing that I think radio is one that we think of a lot, and the radio space is changing with digital streaming services and Alexa services and Siri services. There's a lot of unique ways to actually expand what radio means in today's marketplace. But the other one that's really interesting is cable TV. So, you know, you may not get on the primetime spot on a news show, but if you actually contact local news entities who are targeting that local area, and you just let them know, hey, I'm available to discuss skincare and health and wellness related topics, and make yourself available. That's the thing to keep in mind with something like cable TV, is a lot of times in order to fill a space, you're going to get last minute notice. But if you can make that last minute notice, 2 things come from that. A, you get that live broadcast moment right here in the now, and you've got that information out. But then you also have ongoing content that you can splice that up into and reuse and repurpose again and again and again. I think one of the things that stops us from marketing is we think that it's a never-ending cycle, that we always have to generate new content all the time. And that's only partially true. If you create really good content, you're really only marketing to people that first time that they engage with your business. Once they've purchased and engaged your business, that client that is your paying client is no longer the person you're talking to anyways. So reutilizing things that you've created to draw a larger audience is not going to impact you negatively, and it's going to cut back the amount of time you have to put into your marketing. So really getting a couple key huge moments is more important than consistently doing them all the time. I think that's something that's really important to remember. And again, keeping it local with that local matters approach. You also can do some of these things talking about trade, working with local businesses. I'm going to go into something a little bit more about partnerships, so I'll wait before I get there. So let's go into event marketing. We've got 3 more topics, and then we'll wrap up and I'll answer some questions for you. But let's go into event marketing. Event marketing is something that I think overwhelms people. Event marketing is to the esthetician what trade shows are to the big brands. They are a big moment to meet a lot of people, but they can feel overwhelming when planning them. And one of the things I do in my course is I break this process down in a very simple, manageable way. But there's 2 kinds of events you can participate locally. You can host an event, which means that you create an opportunity for your customers, whether it's a customer appreciation event, awareness event of a topic that's important to you or a cause that's important to you, or maybe it's just a skincare class that you do that's driven towards consumer data and knowledge. Whatever that is, it's a way to get people in, but making sure that you have a call to action at that event that says, give me some money. Whether that's today only get 25% off, which is a huge savings opportunity that ends when you walk out the door, whether it's buy 1 gift card, get 1 free, creating a really big impactful call to action when you have a large audience allows you to build a long-term relationship. I think a lot of times in events, we just try to focus on getting that 1 appointment. Event marketing is really focused around getting the large ticket sales because you have more opportunity to engage and communicate than in your treatment experience where they're going to get that when they commit anyways. So take your bigger ticket items, put some kind of small discount on them, or we'll talk about some other ideas in the giveaways section in a second, but putting some value add to it that they can only get at that event. And then consistently doing those will build up a large exposure and engagement with your business. Also a great way for you to get people to check in on social media because if you have this event and you tell them to check in and you reward them for checking in, you now have everybody talking about your business for you. The next thing is talking about sponsoring events. So this is kind of like what Julie just spoke about, where you engage with somebody else's event and you utilize and piggyback off of the marketing that they're utilizing. And then one of the most important things to me that I think is the most under talked about topic in our industry across the board is cause marketing. Cause marketing can make people feel uncomfortable because they don't want to be vulnerable enough to disclose this piece of themselves, but it is the most important thing to create long-term longevity in your business and create an impact that gives you passion and confidence to say and do whatever you want in your business. And I genuinely, wholeheartedly believe that. But what does cause marketing mean? It means that you take a opportunity to connect with your audience through something that is extremely personal to you. So I gave an example earlier talking about working with the domestic violence shelters. In that example, I've also done events working with AIDS walks and LGBTQ organizations. I was blessed enough to actually work with HRC and meet Joe Biden at an event and engage in this way through being a volunteer. This is something I do on my time. Now, if you follow me on social media, every Sunday is dedicated to civil rights education. And I've had several people since I started message me and say, don't you think that that's such a hot topic? Absolutely, I think it's a hot topic. It's also something I wholeheartedly stand behind, and it's important to me. And the people that get it follow me. And I will tell you, my engagement actually has increased more exponentially since I started that series than anything else I've ever done in the entire history of my entire career. Because it's what we're talking about, but it's authentic. It's who I am. It's what I mean. And it's vulnerable in a way that it's courageous, because there are people that aren't comfortable doing that. They're scared of what negative impact it will have. And the reality is the positive always outweighs the negative. The negative only has an impact when you allow it to impact you. When you let somebody who is not engaged or paying in your business have an opinion on your business, you give them the power and the control that they don't deserve. And it takes away actually from the paying client, because you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, and you're stuck in a place dealing with somebody who has no business being dealt with. So really, I really like to push this conversation, because it's the thing that's going to create the deepest connection between you and your clients. It doesn't require any digital media. You can use this locally. You can implement this through your mission and vision statement. Your vision is to create a employment opportunity in your community. So your goal is to start as a solo today, but as you build your audience in your business, you grow it to a space where you can hire 25 people. That's cause-related marketing. It is a cause that directly impacts your community, and people are going to say, I want to support somebody who supports us. So share the things that matter to you. Don't be concerned about the outcome. Be concerned about the people that are going to connect with you through it. And then the last topic for today, which is a really exciting one, is you've got all of these cool things in place, right? You're doing cause marketing, you're doing event marketing, and you want to make it fun. You want to increase that engagement. Contests and giveaways are a great way to do that, but I'm going to repeat myself probably 100 times. Do not give away products and services that people can pay for. Give away things that increase your brand awareness and increase value. These things might include, when I had my skincare line, I still get calls about this. I did a cup. It was a travel mug, a 12-ounce travel mug that had my logo on it, but it kept ice for 24 to 48 hours. I still get calls about where can I get that cup. It was a cup related to a skincare line. And the goal was to get my logo out in front of more people and start a conversation when I'm not present. But it was a $2 cup. It cost me $2 to produce. And it created such an impact. Another thing is the bags. So instead of utilizing another brand's bags or blank bags, get bags printed with your logo on it. but make it reusable so that they're using it at the grocery store. They're using it when they're out and about in the country or anywhere. And then the other really fun thing too is t-shirts. You can create really fun t-shirts that relate back to your brand and use them as giveaways for a really low cost point. And you just work the cost into whatever your promotion is. But again, it's about building value on what you're offering in a way that's going to increase how your ambassadors and the people that love your brand share your brand. One of the things that I also did is I partnered with marketing firms in a really unique way. I did my 1 year anniversary party for my salon and spa. I gave away a 7-day cruise, and it cost me $99 to give it away. And what did that do? It was a giveaway where if they purchased a $100 gift card, they got entered into this giveaway. And at the end of the event, I sold $10,000 worth of gift cards. And the person that went on that event, they won the cruise, did images that they tagged me in, did testimonials for months. They were talking about how much they loved that trip. So now I have created this whole other atmosphere of why somebody is talking about my business. And as I said, it cost me $100. So there are low cost ways to really increase value and these are what the big brands are doing. When you're walking through the mall and you see the car giveaway, there's a service called Prize Indemnity Insurance. And it's an opportunity where you create these giveaway opportunities for $100,000 a car, but they're paying for insurance. It's something I've been researching lately, and I'm working on doing more with. But do you know that some people are doing $100,000 giveaways and they're paying $700 for it? Imagine the impact of doing a $5,000 cash giveaway in your spa at your event to draw people in, and then on top of that, creating a $100 gift card promotion where they're buying that $100 gift card to get involved, and you've now created a long-term opportunity for them to engage with your business, and then you build that longevity through hitting them with stellar customer service every time they come back. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. I think that's the thing that makes us stop and not even research these options. Big businesses don't spend a lot of money. They're all about the bottom line. It's just about knowing where these resources and these tools are. And that's something that I have prided myself on as a consultant. I have a wide range of resources available and partnerships that I've been blessed to build through my experience and my time in the industry. And now they get to benefit you. So now that you've talked about this big scale brand event, how do you put that into a plan of action? How do you create consistent communication? Every month, have a product focus that spirals down into an ingredient focus, a target client focus, have a service. If you do customized services, so my menu was introductory facial for everyone starts here, and then 30, 60, 90 minutes, depending on how much time you want to dedicate to me. So my product of the month would be vitamin C. So in my service of the month, I would just focus on the fact that I have a vitamin C mask. I'm not doing anything different at all. I'm just giving them a reason to engage with the data and having a topic that's maybe seasonally focused like pumpkin, or maybe it's holiday focused like Valentine's Day. So I talk about maybe doing a pairing of 2 services. And then having an event of the month that ties back to that product and service. It's an opportunity to sell those things. And then maybe that event ties into a cause. So a cause of the month, usually a longer term promotion gives you longer time to talk about it. A lot of times we do 3-day or 1-week promotions, whereas if you do a 30-day promotion, you hit multiple pay periods for a client, which means you give them more opportunities to purchase from you. You also get more time to educate them on that thing. So if you're talking about a vitamin C serum for a month and you're talking about the benefits of vitamin C for a month, in April, which also happens to have National Vitamin C Day, you've got this entire plan that's very simple to do and implement. And if you sat down and did all 12 months with this structure, you could plan your whole year in an hour. If you're someone that needs help with planning and moving on, how do you ask for help? And we're going to wrap up. I'm going to respect everybody's time. But Asking for help and delegating out these services really comes when you've put the plans in place, you've started to implement the funds that you need, and you've planned the financial need, but you plan for that. And then you grow towards that. And when you reach that point, you outsource this information to somebody else to handle it so that you can stay focused on your client experience and giving them the best possible brand experience so that they become the ambassadors out in your community selling your business for you, utilizing the tools and the collateral that you've created. One of the things that I like to talk about when you outsource is really making sure that you're at least 30 to 50% booked, because up until that point, you have the time to do it yourself. When you're trying to do it yourself, getting the support is just about the creative process and the brainstorming. So commit to somebody that will brainstorm with you at a price point you can afford, and outsource once it's paying for itself. One of the things I offer is a complimentary coaching call. I would love every one of you to take the opportunity. It's 60 minutes. In that 60 minutes, we look at your brand identity, your plan, and you walk away with an action plan right there. And then we also talk about the services and options available to you if that's what you need. But what I want you guys to remember, that asking for help reveals a strength, because it lets you know that I'm going to focus on my core skills that I'm best at, and you're going to focus on yours, which means taking care of your clients and giving them the best possible brand experience every time. And I know we're 5 minutes over, but I am here and Julia's here, and if you have questions, I would love to hear from you. This is your opportunity to literally ask me anything and get answers and hopefully help somebody else with your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Richard. I forgot what I was going to say. I've taken a ton of notes, and I don't know about anybody else. We are going to share this presentation with you, as well as a recording of this, so that hopefully you didn't have to take copious notes, but I did write some really good notes down. Regina had a situation. She says she sponsored concerts in the park this year with WYPR Radio. Regina is in Baltimore. And so it was 6 concerts, $250 with her logo, and a spa special is mentioned, but they've not really done anything. They haven't put anything out there. It doesn't seem like they're promoting anything except the restaurants and bars. So what could she do to get them to be more responsive? She already put the money out. I mean, what should she get back, to say to them so that she gets, some results from the money that she has put into this?
So one of the first things I want to point out is when you create a partnership, I think it's important to go into every partnership, especially with somebody that's new to you, with the expectation that you're going to do all of the work. And the reason for that is when you go into it with that expectation, there's no negative experience. It's all a positive experience, because you don't have the expectation of them to meet some potentially unrealistic goal. When you partner with someone, like in this case, where it's 6 concerts, your branding is out there, how we're, again, talking about taking one moment and turning it into multiple pieces of data. Are you promoting their event? So something that I do, and I talk about on a and so this is, we're going to go into digital media for a minute. One of the things I talk about that big brands don't even do this effectively is when you have something where you're partnered with someone. So like in this case, today's event, Julie and I had a Facebook event. We were both hosts of that Facebook event. So it shows up on both of our calendars, on both of our pages, but it also allows both of us to interact and engage with the audience. So in an instance like this, where you've sponsored something, you can create a Facebook event and say XYZ Spa has sponsored XYZ event. And then you create targeted conversations in the thread there, because that now creates a whole little sub community. So you make a plan to daily say things that are going to engage the people. So if it's a concert series, and Britney Spears, I'm just going to throw random names out. Britney Spears is performing, doing fun things about skincare and Britney Spears. There are memes available to you everywhere, but doing those kinds of engaging content means you put forth the effort to really draw people in. And the kind of end result of that is that people are actually starting to engage with you. When I go to a concert, I don't go to a concert and I can't tell you who all of the sponsors are on the fence around the field, because there's a lot of them. But I can tell you, when I go to an event and I see a brand, even when I'm looking at professional events that I attend, I'm looking at the brands that are the most engaged in these spaces, because to me, it lets me know the kind of customer service they're going to provide me. If somebody has a set it and forget it approach to their business, they're not demonstrating to me the priority that I'm going to be to their business. And so I don't necessarily want it. I'm not enticed to engage with them. And same thing with paid ads. When you do a paid ad that says, hey, I've sponsored this event, just saying that isn't enough. You know, creating a poll. Who do you like better, X music artist or X music artist? And making it polar opposite options so that it creates a little bit of an argument and engagement and conversation, and maybe turning that into one of these contests and giveaways. You know, everybody that chooses the poll question that gets the most answers is going to get 15% off of the service. And if you do that, it doesn't mean you have to share that in the post. You can have that plan in your system, and then as people answer and you get to the closing days of that poll, you take the initiative to start everybody that chose Britney Spears over Beyonce. You send them a message and say, hey, thanks for participating in my poll online. You know, we sponsored this event. Music is really important to us. We really enjoy music in our lives, and we want you to come in and experience our offerings. Here's an exclusive offer. And then everybody that chose Beyonce, say, hey, sorry you didn't choose the famous one, but here's an offer for you. And again, it doesn't have to be a discount. It can be about adding value, you know, sending out a free cup, sending out a free t-shirt. It's about building on that content that's generated. And I will tell you, the businesses that partner in that way, the brand that you partnered with will come back, and typically come back at better price points, because when you're doing that engagement, it's building their engagement, which makes you a value to them. And it changes how they engage you. You know, when you first reach out to somebody, you need them. When you've built up the engagement on their business for them, all of a sudden they realize they need you, and it gives you the negotiating power. Mm-hmm. Arena, I see you're asking about the $5,000 giveaway. So that's a random example, and how the prize insurance indemnification insurance works is it creates an opportunity to win a grand prize by having some kind of engagement. It's not a guaranteed prize. It's a chance to win. A really great company that does this regularly is Ashley Furniture. They do a $5,000 room makeover. And to enter, you go online and you enter your information, and then they have they tie it to a live event in store. The winner, the chance to win happens at the live event. So maybe they get 10,000 people that sign up for it online, but they get 1,000 people that show up the day of the event. And then there's usually some kind of chance event that happens, whether it's opening envelopes or those fun little punch walls that you see at events. There's some kind of triggering event where if they do whatever it is. So a great example is a dice roll. You have 5 dice and the 6 is removed with your logo. If they roll all 6 of your logos, they win the grand prize, which is paid for by that prize indemnification insurance. And then you have sub prizes that are done by you. That's where the other marketing opportunity, where I was talking about marketing partners, working with hotels and things like that, and cruise lines, I can make those prizes from that opportunity, which is $99 a month. So I think you're looking at 2 different kind of opportunities in your question. So I want to clarify that. One is a giveaway sweepstakes kind of thing, and then one is a marketing partnership. And if you'd like more information on either of those, schedule a call and I can give you the direct links, and we can talk about your personalized need and expense and budget and things like that. But again, it's always just about building value to make people engage and give you their ear. So you've always got to tie all of these back to a call to action that makes them listen to some sales presentation of some, you know, timeshares do this all the time. Come sit in our 2-hour presentation. You'll get a two nights free hotel stay in Hawaii. And I have a partnership with an organization that actually does those. They're the supplier to those. And it's $99 a month. I mean, there are options to do these things.
Let's see, I saw one more question. Did you see one more question there, Richard? From Michelle. Let's see, she said, if you feel you have a fairly established brand, what's the best way to start up more professional connections?
So I'm assuming you're talking about creating relationship partnerships in your community, whether it's other local businesses or some of the cause-related opportunities. And realistically, it's about doing research. Everything is going to come back to research and finding out. So if we're talking about creating a professional connection with an organization like the domestic violence opportunity, that actually came to me through another esthetician that it just collaborated and grew larger. But it's also about looking, one of the places I like to look a lot is, excuse me, looking at your Chamber of Commerce events, because that's a lot of business networking events and you can see who's kind of engaged there. And it's a little sub-network, but it's all local. Local B&I groups are a great way to connect with other organizations and business owners. And they're in that group specifically to connect with other people and build community. So it's starting there and then making sure that when you start to reach out to these businesses, having a plan of action before you have the conversation. Because if you don't, then A, you lose your negotiating power. If you don't have a plan of action of what you want to achieve and accomplish, you lose your negotiating power. But the other thing is it doesn't provide a great experience for the other partner, which doesn't give them the want or need to continue a ongoing relationship. I worked with a restaurant locally to me where I would host my events because I was in a solo little 10 by 11 suite. I wasn't hosting events in a 10 by 11 suite. So I found a restaurant that had a great space that we partnered. They sponsored the food and the drinks, which allowed people to try their food, but it also allowed me the opportunity to have a space that I could host my event at an affordable, low cost, no cost way. And it was mutually beneficial. They got new customers coming in, trying their foods and drinks, and I got a place to sell my products to a large group of people. So having that kind of vision laid out before you go out and make those connections is going to land you more of those connections. That was a great question.
Let me unmute myself while I'm chatting away on my own. I just put a link to, a long link, but a link to Richard's website, thecompletespabusinessregimen.com, as well as in the chat, you'll see at the very bottom a link to schedule a chat with Richard. That's free. So a 1-hour chat so that you can talk to him, continue this conversation about how it impacts your business and the specific questions around your business. Because I know we have estheticians, we have spa owners, directors, and resource partners on the call, and I'm sure on our replay. So I'll be sure to share Richard's information. Let's see, Regina's gonna hop right onto your website, which is great. We are so grateful. Thank you for staying an extra 15 minutes, and we're grateful to Richard. I think this was an amazing webinar. I took lots of notes. I feel like I have had calls with Richard, but I will schedule a call too, even though I'm not a spa owner, right? So you don't have to be a spa owner. We need to be doing, all of us doing this right, and engaging with our audiences, being deeply personal, which I know is hard. It's hard for me too. And doing video is what I despise. I know we have a vendor on the call. I don't know if Lisa Canali is still on the call. I don't want to peek and see, but she has a skincare line. Well, it's called Wild Air Skincare, but it's made here in New England. And I remember, and Lisa, I don't know how long ago this was now, but she shared an image because I think one of her most popular scrubs and lotions for body treatments, mani-pedi, is her cranberry, right, lotion, because we're based here in New England, and especially for, Lisa says she's here, especially, you know, for our Massachusetts clients. And, uh-oh, am I still sharing?
You are. You're still there.
Okay, something came up on my computer. I was like, oh yeah, okay, great. But one of my favorite things that she shared on social media was her in a cranberry bog picking cranberries. And I don't know how long ago it was, but it meant something to me because she's not just talking the talk, right? She's being personal and she's trying to walk the walk, and we all know how hard it is. And so, Richard, I'm so glad for you reminding us and sharing this wisdom. It was truly amazing. And let's all remember, I mean, I always talk about vulnerability. It's hard for me. It's hard for you. But let's always remember, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. And we love Brene Brown. That's one of her quotes. And so I wish you all well. Definitely connect with Richard. We're going to have him on again for sure. This was amazing. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm blessed. I get to wake up every day and truly love what I do. And that in and of itself is a blessing. And I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you and really helping you find the customized approach that's going to let you share your business and your brand in a unique way. And I thank you for spending your time and showing up. That as a business owner, we don't have time. We don't make time for ourselves. And to dedicate an hour and a half now of your time to ensuring yourself the success speaks volumes to who you are and what you are. And I want you to celebrate that as you go on and take each moment to implement the things that you learn. Celebrate those moments. We tell our clients all day, every day to take care of themselves, drink a lot of water, get enough sleep, get regular facials, but make sure you're loving yourself too, especially right now with everything the way that it is and where it is and why it is and how it is. Take care of you, and remember that there are amazing people like Julie and myself who are here to help you. Call on us when you need us. There's nothing too big or too small that we can't handle, and we look forward to connecting with you further. So I will see you guys in the social world, and I will see you out and about and hopefully at events soon too.
Yes, definitely. Thank you again, and have a great rest of your day.